Hello and welcome to the Penalty Box Perspective podcast. My name is Nathaniel and I'm joined once again by my good friend Matt. How are you doing this Tuesday?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Not much more to say on that. I am good. I am stressed. I am car shopping. Nothing to see here.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Car shopping is an absolute nightmare. Yeah, but we've got some hockey to discuss to at least sort of distract your mind for the next hour and a bit to keep your mind off of car shopping. But
It's been
yeah,
a lot of
otherwise,
spiraling this week for me. Car shopping today. The other day, I had the realization that the hockey season, specifically the fantasy hockey season, is coming screeching to a halt soon. And we know NFL. I don't play NFL. Sorry, I don't play like Barclays Premier League fantasy.
no.
So I was kind of spiraling at the lack of sports entertainment. So I'm currently sat in 3 baseball fantasy leagues, having no idea about anything to do with baseball. I know 4 players, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna join you in that. I think I'm signed into to one of our leagues. I mean, I really like baseball. I love watching baseball. I've been and watched kind of numerous games when I've when I've worked in the US previously and everything, and I understand all the rules of baseball. It's just I just don't know anything about the players. I don't know much about the about kind of outside of the absolutely massive names. I know Otani's shit hot. I know that Aaron Judge is an absolute beast. After that, I'm struggling. It's there's only so many kind of Hernandez and Gonzalez and that I can wrap my head around. And there's that really shit hot guy who plays in Pittsburgh. Is it like Skeens, something like that?
Yeah, I've got him on one of my teams actually.
Oh, good
Apparently, he's
job.
a good pick. Schemes of the week.
Yeah. So
No,
as you
I
can
honestly
tell,
have no idea about baseball.
me
It's
and
just like
Nathaniel
rounders, from what I
are
understand.
yeah, we are entering a slight crisis here at the thought of the regular season starting to end. So we're trying to sort of cope as best as we can. But I think this is also a bit of your trauma of where you're currently sat in our fantasy league. It's not been your well. I say that it's not been your year. You are the king of roster management, but you have been cursed with some horrific injuries this year. And unfortunately, that's
At the
kind of
same time.
blown your plan up a little bit. So you have Radko Gudas to thank for that one. So we'll send him some we'll send him some strongly worded letters.
Matthews out, Draisaitl out, Marchand out, Rantanen out, Shabbat last night. No, things got injured. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Honestly, Victor
Jesus.
Hedman's in like ill. Jared McCann ill. I'm fuck's sake.
Yeah. Well, shall we?
Meanwhile, Kucherov gets 13 points. Anyway, fuck me. Right, I'm
Yeah,
spiraling again, Matt.
we're gonna change things up a bit this week. We're gonna kind of flip the script. We're actually gonna start in the what Conor McDavid has effectively referred to as the Pacific Pillow Fight. We're gonna start in the Pacific Division. And
Right
with
now,
the
I've lost
leading
it completely.
uh,
We talk about the Pacific first.
with the leading team, Nathaniel, we have still the Anaheim Ducks.
Yes, the good old Ducks. 82 points, record of 39, 27, and 4. They lead the division with a -7 plus minus. They started the week with an overtime loss to the Flyers, 3-2. They then beat the Mammoth 4-1. And then in one of the games of the season, they beat the Sabres 6-5 in overtime.
Yeah, you're not kidding. That was an absolutely fantastic game. And the Ducks take 5 points from a possible 6. which I think is pretty much as good as it's going to get in this division. But yeah, they've had a good week and they're still on top of this. They're still on top of this division, looking strong for a playoff spot. Given the nature of the teams within the Pacific Division, I know that's going to be a bit of a talking point about if these divisions were, or if these teams, sorry, were playing in alternative divisions. But you've got Troy Terry, Cutter Gauthier, Killorn, Carlson, Seneca, all at a point per game or better. Lucas Dostal has been his turnaround in form recently has been absolutely fantastic. He's really starting to live up to the contract that he signed after he had really quite a difficult spell in the season. I think certainly around that kind of middle patch of the year, he was kind of floundering a little bit all over the place. But they find themselves out on top in with 82 points. They've got 3 road games coming up with the Canucks and the Flames and then the Oilers. So 3 really important games for them there, all within the division. But right now they're looking good, Nathaniel.
It's looking good in this division.
Yeah, divisions. Division specifically, they're looking good.
Yeah, they'd be 7th in the Atlantic Division, but that's another story.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I like this team. This is, out of all the teams that are involved this year in the Pacific, this is probably going to be my favourite, so I want them to do well. I've said for a while their defence is too shaky. They're a bit too sort of fragile, a bit too chaotic, potentially against the powerhouses in the Central. But I mean, you can't argue with the fact that they're 4 points clear at the top of this division now. We're looking at sort of 10-ish games left of the season. So I think they're pretty comfortable in the playoffs this year.
Yes, on a -7 goal differential.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, if you're going to lose, it doesn't matter if you're going to lose 10-0 or 1-0, I guess.
Yeah, but I suppose so.
Yeah. We'll move on into the second place team, and it is the Vegas Golden Knights. 78 points, 32, 25, 14 on a +3. This Vegas team, I mean, perennial Stanley Cup contenders, playoff masters, previous Stanley Cup champions, and they get shut out twice in a row.
Yes, they do.
That's the big thing for me.
Yeah, no players at a point per game, 3 straight losses. They did then end up, completely kind of bucking the trend and beating the Stars 3-2 on the road. So, a good kind of turnaround win there. But yeah, losses against the Sabres, Mammoth and Predators. So all of their animalistic kind of matches all ended in defeat. But yeah, I don't really know with this Vegas team. They're thank you.
Delayed there, but to make a joke.
Their goaltending is mid. They've got kind of reasonable NHL scoring. Eichel still leads the team on 74 points from only 63 games played. I don't really know what to make of this. They're not. Yeah, I mean, we know it. They're not particularly likable. They're going to make their way into the playoffs, I'm sure. I just can't see them making much in the way of any sort of indentation into the playoffs at all. So that's going to be a challenge. They've got the Jets, the Oilers, and the Capitals coming up. Nothing really further. As I'm looking down this division, it's not a particularly likable division. And I think that's why we usually end up finishing with it. But today we're starting with it, and I've got nothing.
Yeah. I'm just scared, I guess, though, that no matter what, I guess it's in Vegas' fortunes that even when they have a poor regular season, they'll still make the playoffs. I no doubt they'll bring their A game in the playoffs and probably beat the Wild and probably end up in the Stanley Cup or something. Just because they'll somehow figure it all out. But this team just frustrates me.
They often say with Vegas, don't they? You know, like the house always wins and everything like that. And Vegas seem to have some sort of magical hoodoo come playoff time that they end up being a completely different team, and you know, they end up being a lot more kind of they end up just bringing it after sucking ass all season. And if half of the teams in this league were even 20% more competent, they wouldn't even be within a playoff shout this year. So it is frustrating, but what can we do? What can we do other than move on to the third place team?
Yeah, they're like the Panthers to Vegas. They're just not, but except they're in different divisions. But anyway, the third place team in this division remains the Edmonton Oilers, 1 point behind on 77 points. Record of 34, 28, and 9, sat on a +1. They had 3 games. They beat the Sharks 5-3, and then they lost to the Panthers 4-0, and then to the Lightning 5-2. So, yeah, pillow fight.
Yeah. No players at a point per game this week for Edmonton, which is surprising. I mean, most weeks we've pretty much been able to copy and paste, you know, McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard. Obviously, there is no Draisaitl. He's been giving pitch-side interviews at the Bayern Munich game. I don't know if you saw that at all. He's in Germany where he is seeing some famous doctor who has apparently helped all sorts of athletes over the years, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kobe Bryant, Usain Bolt, and he's trying to see this guy and get him fixed up, you know, in time for the playoffs. Obviously, there is a massive asterisk there as to whether the Oilers make the playoffs or not, but they are struggling without him, and you know, that is absolutely evident. You know, when McDavid's not even at a point per game and he's missing his running mate, it's not looking good. Not looking good for them. But it's kind of the same old story. Their goaltending's not particularly great. Yes, they beat the Sharks 5-3, but you know, they still conceded 3. And you know, we know what that Sharks defense is like. And that's kind of the story of this Oilers team in general, is that a lot of the games that they do win, they very rarely edge out like a really close 2-1 game. It's often kind of, you know, they're winning 6-3 or 7-4, or, you know, which is great entertainment for those watching, but they're a really tough team to watch defensively. And they've got the Mammoth, the Golden Knights, and the Ducks coming up, so they've got some really, really pivotal games coming up, you know, in their season, that's going to really sort of challenge the trajectory of where they, you know, find themselves ending up. Yeah, it's just been a really naff week for a lot of the teams involved.
Yeah. Again, this is one team's poor performance gets saved by other teams' poor performances. And again, the same as Vegas for me. No doubt they'll get in the playoffs and Draisaitl will come back and be the playoff MVP. Because that's just how it will go. But they're still losing the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. And that Connor McDavid window is closing
Fast. Tristan Jarry ain't doing it for McDavid.
No,
but yeah.
not at all. Not at all.
In fourth, we've got a team that are up 2 spots. The LA Kings are back in with a shout again. They're on 73 points. 28, 25, and 17 on a -26. They've pretty much had every result going. They've only won 1 game this week, beating the Rangers 4-1. And also in a shootout to the Flyers, a loss to the Sabres 4-1, and a loss to the Mammoth in overtime 4-3. And that seems to move us up 2 spots in this division.
Baffling. It's absolutely baffling, isn't it? Yeah, Panarin with 5 points, Byfield and Laferriere with 5 points apiece as well. So they've been getting the scoring, but yeah, they only come away with one win. They do come away with 4 points in 4 games, so that's our first little tick box hit there. They've got the Flames, the Canucks, and the Mammoth coming up as well. So again, potentially a couple of games that they could. And if the other teams continue playing like this, and if they do happen to beat the Flames and the Canucks, it puts them into quite an interesting spot. They are only 2 points out of a wild card spot at the moment. But again, I can't believe with the way that this Kings team has played that they are remotely within a sniff. But here we are. It's I don't know. I'm quite. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot with a minus 26 goal differential. So I know plus minus isn't everything, but good God.
Yeah. And when we go to cover over the Central Division for the teams that consist this wildcard playoff spot, it's potentially the weakest wildcard playoff chase I've seen in quite some time. I don't know if you agree, disagree.
Oh yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's definitely kind of the quality of some of the teams that are going to be kind of stumbling their way into the playoffs is something to behold. But I mean, the fifth place team have a game in hand on the LA Kings, and they're only 2 points behind them, and so they find themselves 4 points out of a playoff spot right now, but with a game in hand, Nathaniel.
Yeah. You can't be on about the exhilarating Seattle Kraken, could you? They've moved down the spot.
Maybe.
Yeah. All our hopes and prayers are pinned on the Seattle Kraken making this race interesting in a week where they played 3 games and lost 3.
Yeah.
Losing to the Lightning 6-2, the Predators 3-1, and then the Blue Jackets 5-2. So they've come up against 3 teams that are on heaters this week, but when you're a team pushing for the playoffs, you'd expect at least one win in there somewhere.
Yeah, you would. You'd expect them to show kind of a little aspect of fight. Their only player at a point per game this week is Capo Caco. Remember him? Jesus, he seems like it was like a name that when I saw it on our spreadsheet, I was like, oh, gee, yeah, I forget completely that he exists. And I think a lot of people were quite, happy when he got moved to Seattle, and it was an opportunity for him to get a fresh start and to really live up to the potential of his draft pick. And that's not particularly happened. But he's got 3 points this week, so we'll take it. A number 2 overall pick, Capo Caco. Yeah, that is a rough look, but
and that's why teams shouldn't always go after draft picks as capital potentially.
No. I mean, I'm just gonna have like a slight kind of detour here. I mean, this 2019 draft was absolutely something to behold. Maybe not the best draft. Jack Hughes went number 1. Your top 5 picks were Jack Hughes, Capo Caco got drafted by the New York Rangers, Kirby Dach got drafted number 3 by Chicago, Bowen Byram got drafted by the Colorado Avalanche at number 4, Alex Turcotte got picked at number 5 by the LA Kings, Seider went at 6, Zegras went at 9, Matt Boldy went at number 12 to the Minnesota Wild.
Best pick of that draft.
What a steal.
Jack Hughes.
Yeah. Spencer Knight went 13. Cole Caulfield went 15. I mean, that's an absolute steal. You look, Thomas Harley. Yeah. After that, I'm not really. Bobby Brink went in the second round. Nick Robinson went in the second round. Anyone else? Pavel Dorofeyev went in the third round. I suppose that's probably a reasonable pick. Alexei Protas went in the third round. Yeah, so you get the gist here.
So that was 20 minutes in and you're already drifted.
Sorry. Yeah. Seattle. Man, Nathaniel just smacked the shit out of me. Seattle suck. Yeah, but yet they suck, but they're 4 points out of a playoff spot, but a game played less than the LA Kings. So they've got the Panthers, the Lightning, and the Sabres coming up next, all on the road. We'll see what happens there. But, yeah, it's Yeah, sorry, the Seattle Kraken clearly do that to me. They just make me want to talk about anything that isn't them.
Yeah. Next. In sixth spot in this division, the San Jose Sharks.
Oh my god.
3 games, 3 losses, also 70 points. It's the San Jose Celebrinis. There's a week where he doesn't score a point a game, and they lose.
Convincingly.
Every game.
Yeah. 5-3 loss to the Oilers, 5-0 loss to the Sabres, and a 4-1 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. Christ. Yeah. Dmitry Orlov, the only guy at a point per game for the team this week. Alex Nedeljkovic played all 3 games. He finished on an .848 save percentage with a .406 goals against average. So sterling week there from Nedeljkovic. They've got the Predators, the Blues, and the Blue Jackets coming up. So will the team in blue from San Jose playing the Blues and the Blue Jackets, will it be another blue week for them, do you think, Nathaniel?
I think with a game against the Predators, they're well and purely prey.
Yes. Stunning.
Yeah. Stunning. All round. Both of us there doing absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lengths we have to go to make this division interesting is next level.
Yeah. Yeah. Team number 7, Nathaniel?
Team number 7, the Calgary Flames. 65 points. I'm not going to go into the record, the plus minus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. 4 games. They came out with 3 wins. This is the form team in the Pacific Division. They lost against the Red Wings 5-2, but then beat the Blues 2-1 in the shootout, the Panthers 4-1, and then beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in overtime.
What are they doing?
Why are they winning so much?
Oh, God.
Why? Morgan Frost is your best player on this roster now, and they're winning games.
Beats me, man, honestly. They're trying their very best to try and talk themselves out of some form of high draft pick. I don't know. It's
maybe they're seeing the 2019 draft again and thinking we can get a decent player at 12.
Yeah, maybe. They've got the Kings, the Ducks, and the Canucks. So a couple of Ucks and a couple of games in California. They're all at home, so let's see if they continue their hot run of form. God, one more team to go in this division, Nathaniel, so we just get them there. Because you know what? There's actually something interesting to mention with the final team, something that's going to bring a bit of warmth to your heart.
There is indeed. The Vancouver Canucks, the worst team in the league, and potentially of recent seasons. They beat the Panthers 5-2. They lost to the Lightning 6-2 and the Blues 3-1. Now, the results don't really matter because this team is, other than some draft lottery shenanigans, shoehorned into the first overall pick for me. But Marco Rossi, 2 weeks in a row, he's come back from injury and he is performing. In this team, every sort of goal is running through him. They scored 8 goals this week, Matt. He's got 6 goal involvements, 1 goal, 5 assists.
Hell yeah. Love that for him. Love that for you. I love that for Marco Rossi. Can't wait for him to get traded at the draft.
Back to Minnesota. Please. Yeah. Just give him back to us. Please. Right.
In exchange for Quinn Hughes. God, you think Quinn Hughes looks haunted now? Imagine the look on his face if he got told he was going back to Vancouver.
I think he'd move into a different career.
Yeah, I think he'd go play in like the KHL or something like that. He'd be like, no, I'm good, I'm out.
Or like me, he'll turn his attention to Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Michael Jordan did it. He went and played baseball for a little bit. Not particularly successfully, but he went and did. I'm sure Quinn Hughes can swing a bat. I'm sure he'll get something.
Yeah. He's good in the outfield. But
True.
right, we're digressing again. That is your Pacific Division. We'll take a short break now, and we'll come right back.
Stars of the week. Stars of the week. Feel the power. Feel the beat.
This week's Stars of the Week are going to go to the Anaheim Ducks. And that is why we led with the Pacific Division. So we can now talk about this game.
It was by design. We didn't do it because we wanted to. We did it because it fit the format.
It fit the format, yes. Overproduced, you may say. But yes, the Anaheim Ducks went up against the Buffalo Sabres. And they went to a lead. They then bottled that lead and went a goal behind. But they then scored a relatively last-minute equaliser, and then Troy Terry in overtime wins it for the Anaheim Ducks, beating the massively informed Buffalo Sabres. So, great.
Yeah, it was a massive massive stones displayed by the Ducks because, when you have a lead like that and then you blow it and you fall behind, I think it takes a lot of mental resolve to, get yourself, back into the game. They did so. It was a great performance. Really, really good from them. And as we're going to come into the Buffalo Sabres kind of shortly, this is a Buffalo team whose last 40 games have only been matched by the 95-96 Red Wings, who are a historically fucking awesome team. So no one's beating them without a fight at the moment, and that was the fight that Anaheim brought to them. So yeah, terrific from them.
Yeah, absolute stones. They weren't throwing pillows in that match, that's for sure. But
no,
up there for one of the games of the year, fantastic. But the reason for this overproductification as well is because it leads us nicely into the Atlantic Division with the first overall team. Guess who? The Buffalo Sabres. Yes, they're on 95 points now, Matt, with a week where they had 2 shutout wins in a row, a smashing of the LA Kings 4-1, and then that war against the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding from Buffalo, who have 44 regulation wins this season. Super, super impressive, on their part. And, what I think is really important, again, highlights, you see it similarly with Dallas, is that you look at their biggest point scorer. The biggest point scorer currently is Tage Thompson with 72 points in 71 games. They don't have that McKinnon, that McDavid, the Kucherov, the 100-point scorer. They are just grinding points out up and down the lineup. Seen Peyton Krebs on the top line, and they are all pulling in the same direction. Yeah, big Krebs, and it's put them in an absolutely outstanding position. Luukkonen and Lyon both getting a shutout apiece, so an effective goalie tandem. They've got the Bruins, the Red Wings, the Kraken, and the Islanders all coming up, all at home. So yeah, strong finish to the end of the year for the Sabres, I hope.
Yeah, it's such a breath of fresh air. It's crazy. A change in general manager has caused one of the biggest performance shifts in sort of recent sporting history. Because it's one thing changing things in the off-season, getting a few players in, or mentality change, and you also look at teams like the Rangers with the retooling. But then you got a team like Buffalo, who are historically bad and poor at performing across the regular season, haven't made the playoffs in years, and they change a general manager, and look at where they are now.
Yeah.
So it's who knows? Whether this year's such a fluke and next year they're going to turn back into what they are, I don't know. But enjoy the ride.
It's been great fun, even if it does end up being a one and done year. It's been great fun regardless. So yeah, I'll take it. But yeah, they look terrific.
Yeah. A sneaky favourite of mine to win the Stanley Cups now. I'll be rooting them. If they get to Stanley Cups and as long as it ain't against my Wild, I might be rooting them to win because just the scenes, if they do, you'll send all NHL punditry and experts out the window. Everyone just like, what are we doing here?
Big time, big time.
Right. So the second place in this division is the Tampa Bay Lightning, and since the Olympic break, they've been a bit slow. This week shows a return to form. They're on 91 points, 43, 21 and 5 on a plus 59. But win, overtime loss.
Yeah, the really surprising overtime loss to the Calgary Flames as well. But yeah, 3 really convincing wins, 6-2, 6-2 and 5-2. A nice return to form for them. Yeah, they really needed this week. I think there's a few teams kind of over their shoulder who are maybe looking at, just applying a little bit of pressure. But yeah, they absolutely needed this week. Kucherov with 6 goals and 7 assists. That's a big old 6-7 from Kucherov there. Please kill me.
Man, Nathaniel just smacked the shit out of me.
Yes, yeah. Oh God, that's a face of thunder if I've ever seen one. They've got the Wild, the Kraken, the Senators, and the Predators coming up next. All at home again, so they've got a nice big home stint coming up. But yeah, a great bounce back week from Tampa. Kucherov's on 119 points. He's going to end up being right in that Hart conversation.
If not leading it, if I'm going to spoil it. But yeah, this week comes with a little asterisk. The Seattle Kraken, the Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames. They've gone up against the Pacific Division this week. But if that's what it takes for them to, like, get some mojo back in the game, then fair play. Because this team is fun to watch. This team deserves to be in the playoffs and will likely go far. And we want them performing at the best.
Yeah, for sure.
And not for the fact if they play the Wild next, and the Wild can only beat teams that are good and lose against teams that are bad. But we'll come on to that. Bit of a gap now to third place, and we head to Montreal. So they're on 86 points, 38, 21 and 10 on a plus 16. 3 games. A win against the Bruins in overtime, 3-2 in the division. And then a loss to the Red Wings in the division, 3-1. And then a 7-3 demolition of the New York Islanders.
Yeah. 4 points from 6. You'd take that. You'd take winning 2 of every 3. Cole Caulfield with 4 goals and 4 assists, and Caulfield on 43 goals now this season. What a season he's had. And, obviously we touched on it with the previous 2019 NHL draft, which we're not going to return to, but, an absolute steal, as far as Montreal were concerned. And there's always been, what I like about Cole Caulfield is he kind of abolishes the trend of, and I think hockey is quite bad for it, where they'll go, that guy's 5'9", can't play in the NHL, doesn't have the size. It's like, yeah, he can. And not only can he hang in the NHL, but he will exceed a lot of the expectations set by him. They've got another 9 games remaining. We could be talking about Cole Caulfield hitting a 50-goal season here, which would just be absolutely outstanding. I love him as a player. Still think he was snubbed not being on that Olympic team. Obviously, it didn't end up mattering in the long run, but he'll certainly be there at the next one. The Canadiens have the Hurricanes and the Blue Jackets at home coming up next before the Predators and the Hurricanes on the road. So 2 games coming up against a very good team in Carolina. They need to kind of keep up their momentum that they've got at the moment, in order to stay within this playoff picture. Yeah, I'm feeling quite optimistic with them with the way they're playing at the moment.
Yeah. Look, we said, they're a great young team. A lot of the points you're saying are correct. Obviously, Lane Hutson's also a smaller defenseman who's outperforming. So this is the young underdog team. And this race for third spot in this division, which now contains 4 teams for me, is going to be super entertaining down the stretch. And while the Pacific is a snooze fest, let's be honest, this Atlantic division is where the excitement, the thrill is. And
Agreed.
Montreal are in pole position right now, but it's going to be close.
It's going to be really close. It's going to be really close because the fourth place team are right on their tails.
And shout out for Fowler getting a game for the Canadiens as well. He did have that great game. He had the one against the Islanders, which they won. But yeah, great him coming back. Right, so going down to 4th position, they're also on 86 points, the Boston Bruins. 39-23-8 with a plus 17. They've had a fairly decent week. They lost to the Devils in overtime 4-3, but then lost to the Habs also in overtime 3-2. They then beat the Jets 6-1 and the Red Wings 4-2.
Look, that win against Detroit was a massive, massive win in the context of the division. They've 6 points taken from 8 available, and I've said it week after week. You cannot ever count the Bruins out. They had an uncharacteristically bad year last year, but they have bounced right back, and I think there is a chance that they could be looking to add James Hagens to their roster for the final push here, which would be massive for them. Obviously, he was taken in this year's draft. I want to say 5th overall. But yeah, really promising player, and is someone who can definitely come in and make an impact. Pasternak with 7 points on the week as well. He's having another terrific year. 86 points on the year as a whole. He could potentially maybe crack 100 if he keeps performing this way. Really kind of impressive late season flurry from Boston. They've got the Maple Leafs, the Sabres, the Wild, and the Blue Jackets coming up though. So, discounting that game against Toronto, they've got some tricky ones coming up against some teams who are right up there. You look at the Blue Jackets as well, who are fighting tooth and nail for every single point at the moment. So, be interesting to see how this week goes for the Bruins. Obviously, these 3 teams are kind of swapping places a lot at the moment from 3rd through 5th. I'm excited to see kind of what the week brings for them. Yeah.
With that win against the Red Wings and the loss against the Habs, like these 3 teams all played each other and they all won one and lost one, pretty much. So it just further adds to how closeness they are.
Yeah. A lot of drama going on.
But we'll move into 5th, and it is the Detroit Red Wings. They're on 84 points, so they're 2 points behind. 38-24-8, still sat on a -3. They beat the Flames comfortably 5-2. They beat the Habs 3-1, and they lost to the Bruins 4-2. So, again, they're still in it. It's the same sort of conversation applies, really.
Yeah, they are keeping pace. They are keeping pace with the others involved. And like you said, obviously like you said, these 3 teams have all played and beaten each other this week. So, that's what's kept it so close. DeBrincat was 7 points in 2 games. He's been absolutely outstanding this year. He's having a really, really good year. 73 points in 70 games for him. He has kind of become the man in Detroit. And another guy, a bit on the smaller side, who has certainly shown that size isn't always everything, Nathaniel.
No.
Um,
massive Berubes.
How many of these have you got? I absolutely love that.
It doesn't matter how
they've got
small
this-
you are, as long as you got your massive Berubes.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got the Senators, the Sabres, and the Flyers coming up. So again, a tricky game in there on the road against Buffalo for sure. But yeah, it's going to be another big week for this team, another big week for all three of these teams, really. But yeah, this is definitely for me the division to watch.
Yeah. And it only gets better. Because finally my persistence in supporting this team is coming back full swing. The Ottawa Senators in 6th place are now on 83 points. Right, 1 point behind Detroit. They got a record of 37, 24 and 9. They won 37 games in regulation. Well, sorry, they just won 37 games, apologies. Plus 22, plus minus. They lost to the Capitals 4-1, but they've won 3 games on the trot against the Islanders, the Maple Leafs, and the Rangers last night. They're in with a shout, Matt.
They are, and I'm going to have to sort of take back some of my. I was very critical of the Ottawa Senators, in the last couple of months ago. I thought they were in a position where they'd just completely blown it, but they have found some late season form again. They are fighting for their lives to try and get into these playoff positions. They've got the Red Wings up next tonight on the road. Second night of a back-to-back. That's going to be a massive game. They're going to really need to bring it. They've then got the Penguins and then the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. So definitely not the easiest 3 games that they could be playing. But they've been having a really strong week, and they've put themselves right back in that conversation. So yeah, they're right there. And even as you look at the wildcard positions as well, the Bruins currently occupy one of those positions, but then you've got the Red Wings and the Senators just on the outside. Only 1 and 2 points respectfully behind the New York Islanders, who currently occupy that other wildcard spot. So yeah, it's going to be so interesting, and it's going to be a real shame for one of these teams to miss out, I think.
Yeah. I don't think Detroit's got it. I think it's going to come down to Ottawa or the Islanders. Or Columbus, for me.
I don't disagree.
I think, yeah. Oh, it's so exciting. This is so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And I'm so glad that this team's joined the mix, because I've kind of been rooting for them all year. They have got injury issues. They've lost pretty much all of their left-sided defensemen. Chabot's going to be out for a while. So that's a concern. But they've also dealt with injuries all year. And here they are. I mean, they got Jim Reimer in 2 games, averaging 1.5 goals against.
Yeah, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? I tell you who wouldn't have thought, but James Reimer.
Yeah.
been sat on the sofa for 2/3 of the season, kind of just watching the games, and then getting a phone call. And, hey, do you want to come playing golf for the Ottawa Senators? And, yeah, fuck it, why not? And he's been fantastic. But yeah, it's so intense right now.
He's getting probably league minimum for even not having to keep himself in shape.
Yeah.
As opposed to Nick Schmaltz. But anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, shout out Nick Schmaltz there on keeping himself in shape.
Right. Who'd have thought it? The Panthers and the Maple Leafs safely propping up this division. The Panthers are on 71 points. They're kind of hidden tanking a little bit. They lost against the Canucks 5-2. Forgot they were a bad team and beat the Oilers 4-0. And then lost to the Flames 4-1.
Yeah.
So, that make sense.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. Yeah, they've against two of the teams propping up the Pacific, and then they've lost to them both. So yeah, just wild. Bobrovsky though getting that shutout victory against the Oilers. So great for him. They've got the Kraken, the Wild, the Islanders, and the Rangers coming up. I mean, it's kind of all a little bit kind of somewhat redundant really at this point. I mean, the Panthers aren't making the playoffs. So it's just kind of get through the rest of the season and see where they finish out and see what the draft lottery has to say. Get everyone fit, get everyone firing, come back next year and take another run at it.
And this is the thing with this team, like Sam Reinhart, Brad Marchand, both aren't playing at the minute, plus many other players on this team. They have not announced they're in a retool, they're a rebuild. They know they're not. They're just having an off year. They're keeping these players out. If they're in the midst of a playoff push, Reinhardt and Marchand will be playing. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
They probably would have pushed Barkov back somehow. But they're not, and they're accepting it. And this is what I like about them. This team gets a lot of shit. But how they're managing this season, the fans aren't going mental. They're not getting slammed. They're not panicking. They're just calmly accepting their fate this year. And next year, I think they're going to be incredible.
Yeah, I think they'll be right back, and do not underestimate the impact that the return of Barkov will have on this team as well. He will be massive. Obviously, he has had a nasty injury, but on the flip side, he's also had a year off from the physical rigors of playing hockey. So I think he'll be right there, and getting all these guys back, and I think there will be potentially what will work in the Panthers' favour is I think a few teams will go into next year kind of underestimating them a little bit. I think that would be unwise, but I think certainly out of the gates, I think you could see Florida have a really strong start to the year next year because I think teams, sport has short memory. And I think teams will forget just how good this Panthers team is, and I think they'll be flying out the gates next year.
I think sneaky thing. It's just come to my head now. Prior to the draft, trade between the Panthers and the Wild, including their first round pick, which will be a good one, for Jesper Wallstedt to replace Bobrovsky. That's a great move for the Panthers. Wild get a first round pick, probably a decent squad player as well, I'd say. Not a first liner or anything like that, but something like that. I can see it happening.
Yeah, I think it ultimately depends where they end up, where they end up finishing. But I'm kind of the view that, if you're wanting instant help, unless you land one or two in this draft, there aren't going to be many guys coming who are going to offer immediate help. So even if they land like 5 or 6, trade that pick to Minnesota. Minnesota can then draft someone, who will be there in a couple of years to help them out, or alternatively they can flip that pick themselves, to get that first line center that they want, or something to that effect. But yeah, I think Wallstedt being in Florida would be crazy. But I would love to see that. Equally, I'd be terrified because that tandem of Bobrovsky and Wallstedt would be absolutely terrifying.
Well, Bobrovsky's a free agent this year. He hasn't done fantastic.
Yeah,
he's getting another year older. Do they move on?
No, I think they'll re-sign him. I think they'll re-sign him. I think they want to. All the noise seems to indicate that Florida want to re-sign him. Bobrovsky wants to stay. He's not interested in going anywhere else. I think he will take he'll take a team-friendly deal. I think to make sure that he can stay. And if there's one thing that we know about the Panthers and the way that they negotiate their contracts, they always find a way of making it work for everyone involved. So I think he'll stay, but I think there's going to have to be a bit of acceptance from him that it will be in more of a reduced role, and he'll probably be the 1B as opposed to the 1A. So he might go from kind of 50 starts to 30 starts.
Yeah. We'll deep dive that in the off season, I think, because that's definitely one of the interesting storylines coming out, I think.
Was that intentional?
Was what intentional?
I thought you just said like wall save.
Yeah, it was intentional.
Yeah, okay.
Hell yeah. That's what I meant.
Quick, let's move to the 8th place team before they figure it out.
Toronto Maple Leafs. Another week of 3 losses. The Hurricanes was in overtime 4-3. But he lost 3-1 to the New York Islanders and 5-2 to the Ottawa Senators. No player at a point per game.
Now, I went on quite a passionate rant about this Toronto team, and I felt validated. I felt quite validated because a buddy of mine, Tim, got in touch, and he is a big Toronto fan. Poor guy, and he said that none of my points were invalid. So I felt vindicated in the rant itself. I just don't have the energy to put into this team anymore this week. 3 losses. They're terrible. They're terrible. They're an absolute dumpster fire from top to bottom. They are going to be interesting in the off season because what do they do? So they're definitely going to be one of the teams to watch. We'll see. We'll see. Seen some more trade rumours about Matthew Nyes this week.
And Matthews.
We'll see what.
How has this happened? They were top of the division last year. And it's just all gone, and you can't see it turning around.
No, they traded Mitch Marner.
If only they had Mitch Marner.
He was the glue. Yeah.
This team is comedy.
It is comedic gold at this point. Yeah. That kind of wraps us up in the Atlantic. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to be right back with the Metro, I believe, Nathaniel. So stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Cheeks of the week. Cheeks of the week.
The Cheeks of the week goes to AJ Greer, with the Department of Player Safety also involved. Another week, another poor hit, and a poor reaction. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't kind of blow all my rage on the Toronto Maple Leafs just now, because I just have some. What a fucking spineless play that was from AJ Greer. Absolutely nothing to be gained. He checks Conazeri from behind straight into the board. I mean, he goes head first into the boards. The potential ramifications of that doesn't even kind of bear thinking about. Fortunately, I think to my knowledge, Conazeri is okay. But it's one of those hits that really makes you kind of wince when you see it, and you know they're not the kind of plays that you want to see. Hockey is a physical sport, but that play was cheap, it was spineless, it was it just had absolutely no place being there. On top of that, the Department of Player Safety then issue Greer with a 3-game suspension. And I just can't fathom that for me. He's got form. He's done this kind of thing before. He's renowned as a physical player who often kind of toes the line of what's legal and what isn't within the game. And yeah, I think the Department of Player Safety needs a little bit of an overhaul, a little bit of a refresh this summer, because there's some guys out there making some really, really dangerous plays, and they're getting like 3-game suspensions off the back of it. When Malkin got 5 for his slash, which was equally a dirty play, but I don't think the potential ramifications of it. I still think Greer's was way worse.
It's worse. Yeah, because on the play, Zari sort of beats Greer fair and square, and is some distance away from Greer when Greer essentially charges, cross-checks him from behind, levels him, and probably like 5 meters away or so from the boards. So you do see hits close to the boards where players get checked into the boards. I mean, Drew Doughty against Matvei Mishkov is a prime example.
Yeah.
Of a very good, strong, legal hit where there is secondary contact with the boards, which is bound to happen. But Greer essentially charged Zari from behind, hit him, levelled him onto the floor, and sent him at quite high velocity into the boards headfirst. It is just not on. It is not a good hit. There's not a good thing to come from it. It's a petulant child throwing his milk everywhere. Because, for what reason, I don't know. It's not like he got high sticked or slashed beforehand. Zara did nothing to wind him up. We've seen it with Darlene winding people up and getting assaulted after the fact. But nothing from this play was good.
No, and Conor Zary to me, he's an incredibly inoffensive NHL player. He's not someone who has a reputation around the league for being a wind-up merchant or someone who's getting under the skin of other players. Like you say, Greer's just completely thrown his toys out the pram. He's checked him from behind, but I think 3 games is an absolute joke. You've seen players in the past kind of end up paralyzed from hits like that. It's just got no place in the game. And I'm not the world's biggest AJ Greer fan as it is. He's not my cup of tea. I get the role that he plays within that Florida team, but he's not for me, and deserved suspension, but should have been more.
And that role in this team is essentially like a Yakov Trenin for Minnesota Wild, who is leading the hits department by over 70 hits compared to the second place player. He's a physical player, checks people left, right, and centre, but does it properly, fairly, legally. AJ Greer is just, for me, you should investigate for assault or something on that thing. Now that's just dangerous.
Yeah, it's one thing kind of, giving him the lumber, but it's another thing to, cheap shot someone from behind. For lack of a better term, it was an absolute pussy move from AJ Greer.
Yep. Especially against a team in the Pacific. Leave him alone.
Yeah, stop. They're already dead.
Right. We're going to move on to the Metro division. First overall in this division is still the Carolina Hurricanes on 96 points. 45, 19, and 6 is their record with a plus 44. They made a meal of it, but it did come away for 3 wins from 4 games, with a loss against the Blue Jackets to start it off.
Yeah, it was a bit of a heavy defeat to the Blue Jackets, but they followed it up with wins against the Penguins, Maple Leafs, and the Penguins again, which just kind of separates them from the Penguins within this division. They've got this division wrapped up for me. They're 10 points clear with like 10 games to go. They've just been consistently chipping away. Also, I'm not sure how long they've led this division for, but it certainly seems as though they've been on top for a good portion of the season, and they've been fantastic.
I think it has been all year. Like and we start off with the Metro Division. It's Carolina Hurricanes on top. Yeah, I feel like that's rolling off my tongue.
Yeah,
like it's fluent and native. But yeah, it comes with the point though. Like there's not much really to say about this team. It's the same points every week. Franny Anderson not doing so well. Bussy actually hasn't had a good week in all regards either. But there's not really a big name stand-up player, just a very good, solid team who are winning games.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that bad Bussy rolls off the tongue. Usually it's very much good Bussy that rolls off the tongue. They've got the Habs, the Devils, and the Habs again coming up. So they're there's some really important games coming up for Montreal. So, but yeah, I think this team will just roll their way into the playoffs. I think quite straightforwardly.
10 points behind in second is the Pittsburgh Penguins. 35, 19, 16 plus 22. They absolutely smashed the Avalanche 7-2. They also beat the Jets in a shootout, but then they lost the 2 games against the Hurricanes. What's impressive about the Pittsburgh Penguins is the amount of offense that they do have and the amount of players that are at a point per game this week. You need it's like a register at school or something.
Yeah, 7 guys at a point per game, and welcome back Sidney Crosby as well. He was missed, for sure, and everything just kind of runs through him, and he came back with a goal and an assist in the game against Carolina, I believe. In that OT loss, but yeah, that's going to be massive for them in this closing part of the season. With him getting back, getting some more minutes under his belt, kind of in the run up to the playoffs, and it's still going to be close, I think. But this Pittsburgh team, if they keep playing like how they're playing, with Crosby back especially as well, I think they'll find themselves in it.
It is interesting with the next 2 teams we're going to talk about, sort of who's going to fall in, because there's a chance this division doesn't get a wild card spot. So there's one of these 3 teams are possibly going to miss out. On the face of it, are Pittsburgh the ones that are leading out front? I don't know. It's another coin toss for me. But they've had a good week, getting into points steady along, and after last year, and obviously how we thought about them going into the season, they're definitely doing well.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
We'll go into the third place team, upper spots, the Columbus Blue Jackets. 85 points now, only 1 point behind Pittsburgh. 37, 22 and 11 with a plus 13. Another team whose season has drastically changed partway through. This time wasn't a general manager, but it was a coaching change. But they beat the Hurricanes 5-1, Rangers 6-3, Kraken 5-2, and then lost a weird game to the Islanders, and they got shut out 1-0.
Yeah, massive week for Columbus, and what a second half of the season they've had. Zach Werenski coming in again with another 7 assists. He's on 75 points now this season. So he will most likely surpass 80 points. Absolutely love Zach Werenski. I kind of talk about it regularly. I think he's such an important part of this team. And Adam Fantilli again with another 5 points. Cole Sillinger with 6 points. Charlie Coyle with 4 points. He's someone who in the last couple of months, Charlie Coyle's really stepped up his game as well. He's got 55 points on the season now. And they've got the Flyers, the Habs, the Sharks, and the Bruins coming up. So that next game against Philadelphia on the road is going to be really, really important coming up tonight. And I'm really, really pulling for this team. Really hope they find themselves, in the postseason. Would absolutely love to see it. And I just really hope they're able to carry on the way that they've been playing.
Yeah. Super impressed by them. Winning games fairly comfortably. They're being consistent for the most part. So again, it's just adding that little level of spice in an otherwise boring division.
Yeah, shout out Jet Greaves as well. He's played really well this season, I think, as as well, and someone who's really stepped into the starting role. Obviously, it's kind of come at the cost of Elvis Merzlikins not playing as many games as I'm sure he probably would have liked. But I think Greaves has been a big part of this team's kind of ascension in the second half of the year, and Merzlikins as well. The pair of them have really really contributed when it's mattered.
Yeah. So we'll move on into the fourth place team, and it is the New York Islanders, who are starting to panic probably a little bit. They're down a spot, 85 points, 40, 26 and 5 records. I mean, they beat the Maple Leafs 3-1. They beat the Blue Jackets, as we just said, 1-0. But then they lost against the Ottawa Senators 3-2 and the Montreal Canadiens 7-3. So a tough week for them.
Yeah, it has been, and like you said, I think they're probably getting a little bit nervous because they were in a really, really strong position, and it's I don't know whether as much as they've fallen away a little bit, as much as maybe some of the other teams have caught them up a little bit, but yeah, it's now looking kind of awfully close. As it stands at the moment, the Islanders do occupy the second wildcard spot. They are currently a point ahead of Detroit. They're 2 points ahead of Ottawa. However, they have played a game more than both of those teams. So, it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be really close. And they've got coming up in their games, they've got a 3-game home stretch now against the Blackhawks, the Stars, and the Panthers. So, the Stars already having made the playoffs, maybe kind of resting some guys ahead of the postseason. I don't really know. Obviously, the Blackhawks and the Panthers, games that you would think the Islanders can win. So yeah, they're just going to have to try and kind of fight for every point now and try and make sure that they end up in a postseason spot. 'Cause I think the way that they've played this season, it would be a shame to see them kind of fall at this point.
Yeah. It's a weird situation for the Islanders because they haven't sort of, I guess, been up there recently, but they've been consistent top 3 for the most part across the year. And then for them to drop off, not necessarily catastrophically, but just to get caught up and overtaken by teams that are hot, and for them to miss out the playoffs that way, I think they will be bitterly disappointed with how sort of consistent and stuff they've been. But again, it's just a difference. If one or two of these teams swapped divisions with the Western Conference, we'd have almost like the perfect playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just all that difference.
Yeah, completely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, but that's where we're at. Right. 5th place in this division. There's a bit of a drop off here. I don't know why they annoy me so much now. The Philadelphia Flyers. They're in 5th place. They're on 80 points. They're not out of it yet. They should be, but they're not. They've got a record of 34, 23 and 12. 3 games this week on the road in California against the Ducks, the Kings and the Sharks. And they made a meal out of it, but they won all 3 games.
Yeah, they did. And like you said, they are maybe on the outside looking in, but they are just doing enough to stay put right now. And I don't know. It's they are frustrating me as well. So you're not alone in that. They can't quite make their mind up as to what they want to be. They've been so patchy. that they're just a wild team, really. They've got the Blue Jackets, the Blackhawks, the Red Wings, and the Stars coming up next. They don't have a player at a point per game on the season as a whole. Not that that's incredibly important, as we've seen with some of the other teams. Michkov's got 4 assists this week, so he's found, since he's been moved in the lineup, he's found a little bit of form. I don't know. That's going to be a really important game for the Blue Jacket against the Blue Jackets coming up. A lot on the line there for both teams. I think it might be potentially a little bit too far with the other teams that are behind them, but in front of them. Sorry, but I think next week we'll have a bit of a clearer picture as we kind of get into the final handful of games.
Again, wittering on about this, but they played one game less than the Anaheim Ducks, and they're 2 points behind them.
Yeah.
If they win their game against the Blue Jackets, nobody else played a game, and they beat the Blue Jackets, they could theoretically be on top of the Pacific Division. This Philadelphia Flyers team, they got more points than the Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know how or why they're not. I don't like them. I just don't like them. I don't like them. I just don't like the way they do things. Anyway, I can't really back it up with anything. Like they're a decent team.
No,
They've improved from last year.
It's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling. I don't like them. And I've seen a lot recently this past week about should Flyers and the Ducks go back into business with each other again. Obviously the Gauthier and stuff like that. But like, should Michkov go over there or should Tippett? What they shop Tippett? I'm wrong with Gauthier. No, I've seen something with Gauthier.
No. He absolutely was. You are 100% right. I was just kind of salivating at the prospect of Michkov being on that Ducks team. You're all good. Yeah. Don't worry. Your facts are
You're a little bit
bang
pixelated in live format, so I can't quite see your facial reaction sometimes. And I just had a second of doubt there. But yeah, they seem to be tied together, these two teams. And I can't like one more than I do the Ducks, and I can't get frustrated like more than one than the Flyers. Not as eloquent as your tirade against the Maple Leafs last week, but the Flyers can suck ass.
Noted.
Any more?
No. We'll move on.
Cool. Philly fans suck as well. Washington Capitals in 6th. 79 points. 35, 27 and 9 on a plus 12. 1 point behind Philly. They beat the Senators and the Devils this week 4-1 and 2-1, and then lost in overtime to the Avalanche 3-2. So overall, not a bad week.
No, not horrendous. I don't know. Does it keep them? Does it keep them in it? I don't know. They're only a point behind Philly, and Philly are still kind of in it. So I don't know. For me, with Washington, I think the answer is kind of closer to no. But I just don't know. I don't know. They've got the Blues, the Mammoth, and the Golden Knights coming up, all on the road. I don't know. I don't really know kind of where this Washington Capitals team sits with me right now.
Yeah, they got 7 players at 2 points in 3 games this week. No players at point per game. You look at the season stats, and the top 4 players are all on 53, 52, 51, 51. The 5th player on the team has 47 points. So they are a well-balanced mid/mediocre team. I think the Capitals and the Flyers are out of the contention just with how strong the Atlantic is. And obviously Ottawa, Islanders, Detroit, Boston, Montreal, like they're the teams that are going to get the playoff spots. So for me, they're out. They're just kind of in mid-table purgatory.
Yeah, I would agree. I think with kind of, I think it's just a bit too far for them.
Yeah. The 7th place team, and again, there seems to be a bottom 2 team drop in most divisions. The New Jersey Devils, they're sat on 72 points. they've won 2 games and lost 1. They beat the Bruins in overtime, the Rangers, and then lost against the Capitals. Jack Hughes is going off. Great player, we know he is when he's actually on the ice. But yeah, this team's just done.
Yeah, they're done. They're done. They're not obviously making any great waves this year. They'll have to reset in the summer and kind of consider their own direction. They've got the Stars, the Predators, the Hurricanes, and the Blackhawks coming up next. So a couple of decent teams, couple of not so decent teams. Jack Hughes playing well. Don't really have much else to say about this New Jersey team. They've had a difficult season, but I feel like a lot of it's been of their kind of own making, really. But they are very much out.
And finally, a return to form for the New York Rangers. We tried to hype them up last week because they had like a really good record post-Olympic break, but they played 5 games this week and have lost every single one of them pretty comfortably. Though they lost at the shootouts to the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, they pick up 1 point from 10 available. Bit of a return to form for them. They're on 65 points now. They've got the Maple Leafs, the Blackhawks, and the Panthers coming up. So, definitely some games they might win. Them against Toronto is going to be like the most depressing game known to man. 2 original 6 franchises sat around the bottom of the league, it's gonna suck. But the Rangers, the retool is well underway. I'm kind of willing to invest more energy into the Rangers in the summertime, I think.
Yeah. That is the goal horn for the Maple Leafs and the Rangers in that
game. We'll take our final break and come back with the Central Division. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Plays of the week.
Alex Ovechkin scores his 1,000th goal in the NHL, Matt, from his office. What do you make of it?
He certainly does. His 1,000th goal in both regular season and playoffs. So his combined total. And have you ever seen a more Alex Ovechkin goal from the left dot on the one time? Just rips it in the top corner. Absolute poetry, absolute cinema. He's just a legend of the game, and I feel so incredibly blessed to have been able to witness him do everything he's done, and break record after record, and he's a phenomenal player. And eventually there's obviously going to come a time where he's no longer in the league anymore, and that will be a sad day indeed. But right now, I'm just kind of trying to enjoy every Alex Ovechkin moment that we get between sort of now and the end. But yeah, terrific moment for him personally. A great moment, and unbelievable.
Yeah, not to throw shade on an absolutely fantastic achievement, but again, in true Ovi fashion, it wasn't the first the slap shot from his left dot in that particular sequence of play. As quite often is the case, he'll hit it, he'll miss it, he'll go behind in the right corner, his players will dig it back out again, and because everyone's like charging it behind the net, it gets passed back out to him again on the left dot because he hasn't moved. Takes another big swing at it, and he goes flying top bins.
Yeah. It was. I don't think the PlayStation controllers had any power on Alex Ovechkin for the last kind of 6 or 7, 8 years. He is like the greatest one-trick pony in sports. And what a trick it is. But great moment.
It's like the old Tekken game where you just like know one move that's overpowered and you just spam the button.
Yeah.
To the absolute infuriation of everyone else. Like,
Yeah.
but no,
yeah.
it's absolutely great.
Yeah. Final division then, Nathaniel. The Central Division, our division with our teams. This division's kind of pretty much tied up at this point, which kind of tied into the reason, as to why we're bringing it in last. But why don't you get us started?
The first team that's gone over 100 points this season, shock horror, it's the Colorado Avalanche. They've been a bit slow in recent weeks, not as dominant as they have been. But they come into this week with a loss against the Penguins 7-2, a shootout loss to the Stars 2-1. They did beat the Blackhawks 4-1, but then beat the Capitals in overtime 3-2. So they're making a bit of a meal of it, but I think they might have just taken the foot off the gas.
Yeah, they are. They're making the President's Trophy conversation somewhat interesting, but they officially secure their playoff berth for the postseason. Kind of business as usual. McKinnon and Natchez both at a point per game. McKinnon's on 114 for the season now. Natchez on 86. He's had an absolutely great time in Colorado. I mean, for them to lose Rantanen, but for them to get Natchez back has worked an absolute treat. They've got the Penguins again, and then back-to-back games against the Winnipeg Jets. Business as usual. I think they'll probably drop a point somewhere and probably get a couple more wins.
Yeah, I think they're trying to avoid the President's Trophy curse, if I'm honest. And they're playing a game of chicken with the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, and the Buffalo Sabres.
The match of Buffalo Sabres come in, win the President's Trophy out of nowhere, and then just go on to win the Stanley Cup and just like ruin everybody's expectations and of like what's guaranteed of the year. Buffalo Sabres don't make the playoffs. The President's Trophy winners leave in the first round of the playoffs. Include other stats here, but Buffalo Sabres tick 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 tick. Wrong.
Yeah. You wouldn't bet against it right now, would you?
No. But yeah, this Colorado team, we know they've been going to the playoffs since the first 10 games of the season, I think. So we'll go on to the Dallas Stars in second. Sat on 97 points. Had results gone a bit differently this week, they could be leading. But they haven't. They lost to the Mammoth 6-3. They beat the Avalanche in a shootout. They lost to My Wild in overtime 2-1. And then the Golden Knights lost 3-2. I mean, that is quite a run. Avalanche, Wild, Golden Knights. But yeah.
Yeah, and surprisingly, no players at a point per game this week. But Dallas also secure officially their playoff spot. They've got the Devils, the Islanders, Penguins, and Flyers coming up next. So they've got some Metro games coming up there. But yeah, again, nothing else really to say. They're in the postseason officially now. We'll see what happens when they get there. Let's hope they rest up and bring their A game.
Yeah. Not much for me on the Dallas Stars, no. Cool. We'll go on to the Minnesota Wild, who are third on 92 points. I think, obviously, they're not positioned in the playoffs, aren't confirmed, but come on, they are. Record of 40, 19, and 12 on a plus 31. Again, seem to be misfiring a little bit. And we lost against the Maple Leafs 4-2. Beat your Blackhawks 4-3 in overtime before then losing to them 2-1 in regulation. And I bet you can't wait to... First time in 55 years. Even though the Wild are only 25 years old. But yeah, we then beat the Dallas Stars in overtime at 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, their playoff position isn't officially confirmed yet, but they're going. They've got the Lightning, the Panthers, and the Bruins coming up next, all on the road. They'll see themselves a return to form, I'm sure. Brock Faber with 4 assists on the week. Bobby Brink with 2 points in 2 games as well. So good little starting period for him as well. Yeah. We'll cover the Blackhawks loss more when we get to Chicago, because we're going to need something positive to talk about with them down there. And yeah, it's again, let's hope that they get everyone rested up, everyone healed up. We'll see them in the postseason. It's going to be a very tough first round for them, and let's see what they got.
Yeah. This is a podcast. We cover all 32 teams, whether we want to or not. But naturally, we do pay attention to our teams more. So I will have a minute for my thoughts on my team.
You've got a minute. Go.
Got a minute to start now. Goaltenders, great. Both plus 900 save percentage and under 2 goals against a game this week. We seem to be performing poorer against the poor teams and a lot better against the better teams. That game against the Stars was absolutely fantastic. Bobby Brink has really taken me by surprise with the energy, the skill set that he brings. It is just a sort of a breath of fresh air, otherwise known as bresh air. He was dynamite in that Stars game, especially in the third period, whizzing round, winning pucks, annoying people, takes a penalty for high sticking because somebody goes to body check him and he literally goes, nah, fuck off, and puts his stick up in their face. Comes back in overtime, draws all 3 Dallas defenders or players, picks out a perfect, like an inch either side, that pass ain't getting through. Gets through to Vladimir Tarasenko, who nails it. Wins that game. Everyone swarms Bobby Brink instead of Tarasenko. I think we may have a new fan favourite. He's from Minnetonka, and so he's from the area as well. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, or never hurts, does it, to have the kind of have the hometown boy on the team? Yeah, the fans seem to absolutely love him, and yeah, great acquisition, from them. Yeah, the pass on the Tarasenko goal was unbelievable. Would have been a potential shout for Player of the Week, actually, had Ovi not done Ovi things. But yeah, he looks like he's fitted in pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, up and down the lineup. This team has taken its foot off the gas a little bit. We're not playing our usual pairings. We're trying things out for some reason. So Faber and Hughes, who have been monsters together, they split them up. So it's Hughes with Spurgeon and Faber with Brodin, which is what was the first line was last year, really. Obviously mixing up the forward lines as well, just seeing what works, building up chemistry in case there are injuries further down the line, things like that. So we're seeing a bit more sort of spotty play rather than the routine. Kaprizov was out injured as well for a couple of games. Not serious. We'll be back. Not to worry about. Touch wood. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm a happy Wild fan. I think we've sort of given up on chasing Dallas and Colorado and just more concentrating on working on game plans for a 7-game series against them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's couldn't have put that better myself. Yeah, good stuff, Nathaniel. Good work.
Well, thank you, sir. Right. We're going to 4th place on 80 points, the Utah Mammoth, who I think are also pretty much confirmed for a wildcard spot. The record 37, 28 and 6, plus 25. They've had a Utah Mammoth week. They beat the Stars 6-3. They beat the Golden Knights 4-0. And then lost against the Ducks 4-1. And they made a meal out of beating the Kings in overtime 4-3. So, again, solid work by the Mammoth.
Yeah, they are, again, obviously this is all kind of divisional, divisional issues and points, etc. But the division that they're in, the conference that they're in, they are currently 7 points comfortable in a wild card spot. So it would take something cataclysmic for them to fall apart at this particular moment. And but yeah, a very Utah kind of week. Vemelka got the shutout against the Golden Knights, beat the Stars. Kind of had to fight for that win against the LA Kings. But yeah, Schmaltz, Keller, Kraus, all at a point per game or better. And yeah, I think we'll see what this team can do in the playoffs. I think they may be a little bit inexperienced at this moment in time, but a great story to see them back in the playoffs in Utah in their second year. As a relocated franchise. And the way that they've turned this around from Arizona has been great to watch.
Yeah. I think that's the way I like to frame this. The Utah Mammoth are kind of like a new entity. They're kind of a bit like a new franchise, like the Kraken or whatever. And you look at them and you think, yeah, they're doing all right, decent squad, stuff like that. But if you just swap the name and the colour scheme from the Utah Mammoth to the Arizona Coyotes, Phoenix Coyotes, and stuff like that, and you see how well they're doing this year, you sit back and you think, wow, they've had a great year. They've achieved lots of highs. They're going to the playoffs. For an Arizona Coyotes team, this would be incredible. So why are we not exactly thinking like that for the Utah Mammoth? Not to say people are down on them or anything like that, but it's just kind of a bit expected or a bit understated. But I really want to give them their due. They've turned things around in sort of that franchise territory kind of thing, and yeah, good work.
For sure.
We'll move on into the fifth place team. I don't know what to make of this Nashville Predators. Right, they're on 75 points, 33, 28 and 9 record on a minus 23. They've played 4 games and have won every single one. And now we're in a playoff position. What the fuck?
Yeah, who'd have thought? They fire themselves up into a wild card spot. They beat the Jets, the Kraken, the Golden Knights, and the Blackhawks. Yeah, Nashville may end up heading to the postseason. We'll have to wait and see. They've got the Sharks, the Devils, the Habs, and the Lightning coming up. So if they can keep playing the way that they're playing, that'll put them in a really strong position. But Forsberg, Stamkos, and Marchessault all at a point per game or better this week. So the veterans getting it done on that team, and this is a late season flurry potentially from Nashville, and we'll have to see kind of over these next 4 games how they do, and if they're still in this position come next week, then we're kind of 1 week closer to them being there.
There'll be a world where the New York Islanders have been in a playoff spot in the top. They've either been second or third in the Metro all bloody year, it seems, and they can miss the playoffs for our 26th ranked Nashville Predators to sneak in for a wild card spot.
Yeah,
it's just not fair. It's just
no, it's cruel.
It is cruel, and we see it in obviously American sports where the divisions and alignments of things have lined up. It is prevalent in the NFL as well, where it seems some different conferences get in over teams that probably deserve to from the other one. But that's sports. But I just can't believe potentially Colorado or Dallas are going to end up going to Nashville Predators for their first little comfortable first round of playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah,
but Forsberg turning on the style after we've praised him for his tash.
Glorious moustache.
Glorious moustache. That's a positive, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. 3 teams from this division who are not going to the playoffs have various degrees of interest around them. We're starting the Winnipeg Jets, who are probably about the middle ground of interest for us. They're on 70 points, record 29, 29, and 12 on a minus 20. Boy, do they love a shootout this week.
Yeah. 4 games played, 3 shootouts, 2 losses and a win. But yeah, they lost in the shootout to the Preds, lost to the Bruins 6-1, lost to the Penguins in a shootout, and then beat the Rangers in a shootout. Kyle Connors at a point per game, Gabe Velarde at a point per game. Just when we kind of thought that maybe this Jets team was maybe doing something, making some sort of noise, they've kind of sort of fallen at the final hurdle. They're out of a wildcard spot for me now. Not gonna happen for them, which is deserved based off of the way they've played this season. That they absolutely should not be attending the postseason. They've got the Golden Knights and back-to-back games against the Avalanche coming up as well, so it doesn't get sort of any easier for them. They are kind of in that middle ground for me right now. See them reset over the summer and come back next year, hopefully with a bit more depth and a bit more, a bit more kind of get up and go, and see if they can crack this Central Division, which is not going to be an easy task.
Move on into the team with probably very little interest for both of us. The 7th place team, St. Louis Blues, 67 points. They've only played 2 games this week. They lost against the Flames in a shootout and then beat the Canucks 3-1. There's not much I really want to need to say about this team.
Nope. Other than another 2 points for Rob Thomas. Games
against the Capitals, Sharks, and Maple Leafs coming up.
At home. And I'm good.
Right, so the 8th team in this division. We have said that we cover all 32 teams, but some maybe more than the others. But 8th place, Chicago Blackhawks, Matt, 65 points. I'm just going to open up the floor and let you run with your Blackhawks team.
They lost that first game in overtime against the Wild. They were then able to beat them 2-1 in regulation. So as we've touched on the last couple of weeks, first regulation victory against the Wild since 2019. Massive for them. And it was a really, really strong, mature performance as well. They held on to the lead. Alex Vlasic made some great defensive plays in that game to help secure the win, and Spencer Knight was fantastic as well. Then lost 4-1 to the Avalanche. It was just a gap in quality, is what it is, unfortunately. And the OT loss against the Predators was frustrating. I wasn't able to watch the game because I was at work, but I was listening to it on the radio. It was disappointing play that Andrei Burakovsky giving up the puck to Philip Forsberg, who was able then just to kind of dance his way in front of the goal, and he was never going to miss it. But another 4 points from Connor Bedard. He has been absolutely electric since the Olympic break. He is playing absolutely fantastic, and since we have been recording, actually, during this, the Chicago Blackhawks have confirmed that Anton Frondell will be playing tonight against the Islanders. So he arrives in Chicago after his season in the SHL comes to an end. He's had a record-breaking season in Sweden, kind of only matched by the likes of kind of Marcus Naslund and Daniel Sedin, and very good company to be in. So he's going to come in and hopefully get some NHL minutes under his belt to finish the year, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. They've got the Islanders, the Flyers, the Rangers, and the Devils coming up, all on the road. We'll see what they're able to do, but this Blackhawks team now, compared to where the team was at last year, significantly better team. Yes, the standings in their division don't necessarily reflect it. But that they are improving. I think they go out. I think they will make a big swing this summer. I think they will make a big trade for someone to get some real NHL kind of caliber talent in there. You're adding Frondell. You're adding Roman Kantsarov, who has finished the KHL regular season is now finished, and he is the can't remember. I sent it to yourself. The youngest player to lead the league in goals, I think, since Kirill Kaprizov. Again, good company to be in. He will. I don't think he will come across this year. I think he will arrive over the summer. So you're adding another potentially top 6 piece there as well. So I'm happy. Standings aside, I am very happy with the way things have gone this season. I think all the players who really, really matter to this team have taken big steps forward. I think Bedard has asserted himself as a superstar in this league. I think that Nazar has made a good impression in his first year in the league. I think Artem Levshinov has come in and he's had some very teachable moments, but he's been impressive where it's been needed. I think Alex Vlasic has kind of solidified himself, certainly as a very solid kind of top 4 defenseman in this league. Spencer Knight's been fantastic. I'm just really looking forward to seeing kind of what the future brings for this team.
I mean, I can't argue with anything you've said. I just want, hope and pray that you finish 7th and beat the Blues. That would be almost like the perfect season/storm for you this year, with everything involved.
We'll see. That would be a glorious way to end things. And kind of speaking of ending things, before we hit our final stats, I've got Tankathon open. I'm going to hit a tank spin. Last week's was an absolute car crash, so it's got to be better. We're going to sim the lottery right now. It's better than last week. Chicago jumped 1 spot from 3 to 2, but taking the number 1 pick, jumping 7 spots in the lottery, is the Seattle Kraken. Maybe Seattle would get a player that would make them interesting. Who knows? Seattle, Chicago, Vancouver, New York Rangers, and then Calgary, with St. Louis falling to 6. Wow. I'll take it.
Yeah. There's
Right.
worse situations out there.
Yeah, I think, Chicago finished 2nd, that would be a McKenna or a Stenberg. And then, Seattle would get their franchise player. And let's hope he pans out better than Shane Wright did. Right. I'll let you rattle off our big stats for the week, and then we'll get out of here.
So, it's all Kucherov this week. 13 points. I thought Philip Forsberg with 9 was going to be good. But yeah, Kucherov with 13 points this week, 6 of them goals, which leads to week's charts for goals as well. But shout out to Erik Karlsson of Pittsburgh Penguins, who scored 5 goals this week. Tidy for your fantasy. But the penalty box award for penalty minutes, unfortunately, has to go to AJ Greer. So 17 minutes. Boo. Caden Gooley for the Canadiens gets 16. What that means in terms of the season, Kucherov is now out front with 119 points, McDavid with 116, and McKinnon with 114. McKinnon still leads the goal standings with 45, Caulfield with 43, and then Kucherov with 40. Zadorov, with not a single penalty minute this week, is still out front with 134. Kastelik with 128 is catching him up, and that name again, AJ Greer with 109. But it seems like it's going to be a race for Zadorov and Kastelik for that award.
I think so, and we are in a situation again with to bring him just back up very quickly. Is Caulfield 2 goals off of tying McKinnon. We could be talking potentially about Cole Caulfield winning the Richard, or potentially Kucherov with the way he's playing at the moment could also win the Richard. which would be for someone in his career like Kucherov to have a season in his career where he gets 100 assists, and then another season where he takes home the Richard Trophy would be the guy's a joke.
Sneaky up there for. Well, he's not the greatest of all time, but everyone loves and appreciates Kucherov as a player. But I also think he's also underrated in just how good he is.
I think he is underappreciated. I think he is appropriately rated, but I think he's maybe underappreciated by the wider sort of hockey fan base, so to speak. 58th overall pick in his respective draft. Absolute steal.
Absolutely, still, it just goes to show you don't know. Drafting isn't simple. It's not a case of the EA Sports game where you can see ratings and stats and things like that. You just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins went number 1 in that draft. Could you imagine if Edmonton had taken Kucherov to add him with McDavid and Draisaitl? Jesus Christ.
Well, I also think maybe Edmonton had something to do with fucking up Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Yeah, well, yeah. I can't disagree with that whatsoever. Right, anything further from yourself, Nathaniel, before we get out of here?
No, I think it's time for you to sign us up.
Are you please
Craig and his massive Berubes.
There we go.
Can I please have a drum roll, Nathaniel?
You want a drum roll?
Yeah. Right, guys, as always, you can find us on both X and Instagram at the PBP Podcast. You can also follow us on TikTok at Penalty Box Perspective. You can find us on Gmail at penaltyboxperspective@gmail.com. If you've got any thoughts or feelings or kind of want to get in touch with us, at all, then please feel free to do so. You can also watch the podcast in video format and see our glorious faces on both Spotify and YouTube. You can go and subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. That's at the Penalty Box Perspective. That would be much appreciated if you're able to do so. Please consider giving us a 5-star review. Really helps me and Nathaniel out, pushing the podcast to more ears and more eyeballs. So thank you as always, guys, for being with us. The regular season is coming to a close, but the Penalty Box Perspective will keep on going. Thanks for being with us as always, guys. Take it easy. We'll see you on the next one.